violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
This is the moment Edmond Ramee Sr. turned himself into U.S. Marshals and the NOPD Monday night. The 21-year-old is accused of shooting and killing his 1-year-old son's maternal grandfather.
Woo! And guys, he shoots the maternal grandfather, which is the woman that he impregnated, because they're probably not together anymore, her father. He shoots this man to take the child. Back in the day, when you would have a senior, he would be older, wiser, you know, smarter. That had a meaning to it. But nowadays, a lot of times you just got these young dudes, they just naming a kid after them off rip. They having a kid 15, 16. So, and then they'll have the kid, but then they won't have custody. Or they doing some jack stuff like this and messing the whole situation up. This is similar to the rapper Velly Vel, and we keep seeing these situations going on. Domestic disputes that just end deadly. Okay. I think I covered another story. I forgot where it was, but it was the same situation. Just a grandmother instead. Like, when did we really get to the point where it was just that much disrespect for the elders? A lot of elderly are soft targets nowadays. And it's sad.
Maternal grandfather inside this home in the Little Woods neighborhood of New Orleans East before leaving with the very young child. The baby, Edmond Ramee Jr., is now with family and appeared to be doing okay Monday night.
Is the baby okay? Baby's okay?
Wow, man. Thank God he did not take that baby out. And the problem is that we even have to say that. You know, I was on Axe channel, Ock Nation, shout out to bruh. I was on his channel and, you know, talking about the Velly Vel situation, and he gave credit to Velly Vel for not killing the child, and I'm just like, you know, it sounds crazy to me. To me, I'm just sitting there like, okay, but then at the same time, we see instances where, like in Memphis, the story I just covered, where they do take out the kids. So, I guess shout out to him for not killing the child.
After the shooting, New Orleans Police Chief Sean Ferguson said the situation was considered a level 2 endangered child situation, and a very large-scale search for Ramee followed. Ferguson wouldn't say much about what led up to the shooting, but called it domestic violence, and sadly, it isn't the first.
Of our 20 or 21 homicides we've had thus far this month, at least 5 or 6 of them has been a result of either domestic or an acquaintance case that resulted into a fatal ending, had a fatal ending to it.
20 murders in New Orleans this month. And at least 5 of them were domestic violence. Wow. This is crazy, bro. And I told you, Mardi Gras 2022, do not go.
Mama don't know where he at. I said, where my daddy at? Where my daddy body? They said, oh no.
Family, friends, and neighbors were understandably emotional after learning the news of the killing. This man says he wishes the NOPD would do more.
You know, NOPD.
Bro, you cannot blame the police for this. Come on, dog. You can't blame the police. They're handcuffed. This guy probably had prior charges. They're handcuffed, bro. We did this. Defund the police. We did this. what we're gonna do now with Amir Locke, it's gonna be more movements like this. No knocks, can't do no knocks. I mean, if this guy is cooped up with that kid, don't you want a no knock for that? Just saying. I mean, let me know in the comments if you would recommend a no knock if this guy was cooped up in the house with a child after he just murdered the child's grandfather. Wouldn't you want a no knock for that?
This man says he wishes the NOPD would do more.
You know, NOPD ain't doing their job. From my understanding, there are only 84 officers to patrol the whole 7th district.
Well, that's funding. That's funding. It's not that they're doing their job. They can't afford to do more. They need more resources. They need to be able to hire more people. They need to, if they're doing the mandate thing here, they need to get rid of that and take as many people as they can. Maybe you should, you know, tell your sons to join the force if it's that big of an issue. Honestly, because that's what policing your own is, not just handling it in the streets.
And they all ain't working at one time. So how can we stop crime?
Ferguson says his department is working to do all they can to prevent these types of crimes, but says there's only so much police can do.
It's not just about what police can do domestically. I mean, we have to look into ourselves and how we are dealing with one another.
And who are these women having children with? How did this dude get you pregnant when he's capable of doing something like this? This is different. Obviously, I'm not blaming her, but it's just crazy to me.
Looking to ourselves and how we are dealing with one another. Be able to take the high road, be able to walk away.
With Ramee now in custody, we asked his attorney, Lionel Lon Burns, for comment. He said there would be no...
Thank God that baby's okay. Look at that baby. At least the mother's still there, right? They got some family to help raise a baby.
Comment. He said there would be no statements at this time, but wanted the public to see the child is okay. Paul Dudley, Eyewitness News.
Controversial murder and kidnapping case goes to court in New Orleans.
Edmond Ramee Sr. is accused of killing his father-in-law and kidnapping his child just days ago. Now bond must be set. But as WD...
Woo! I mean, honestly, with a lot of these chicks, this look is in, like the skinny dude with the dreads. Hell, ladies love the dreads. What can I say?
But as WDSU reporter Heath Allen shows us, it's not his first time behind bars, and that's what has a lot of people pointing fingers this morning.
Ah, go figure. It's not his first time behind bars. So I'm telling you guys, majority of these stories that are going on where these guys, they're reoffenders. They're not supposed to be out. They were let out because of the CV, or they were let out because of this, let out because of that. Or maybe the prosecutors just didn't want to prosecute it. There is an agenda going on across the whole country. They're experimenting something right now in these courtrooms. And it's going to set a precedent for, I think, the next 100 years.
Pointing fingers this morning. Heath, good morning.
And a good morning to you. You're absolutely right. Not his first time behind bars, and bond is going to play a key role in whatever court proceedings unfold as today progresses. Ramee, of course, turned himself over to New Orleans police after a series of tragic events over the weekend, the murder of his father-in-law and then the kidnapping of his own son. It was a series of events that left the New Orleans East neighborhood in shock. Ramee, though, had previous run-ins with the law. He had been arrested on domestic violence charges before.
Really? Really? Man, I mean, these stories, they just write themselves, honestly. And it's a shame that the grandfather had to be at the end of this super gremlin on Demon Time.
In Christmas 2020, charged with battery of a police officer, resisting a police officer, and domestic abuse battery. What has many up in arms right now is that at that point, back then, his bond was only set at $250.
Woo! This is your bail reform. No cash or low cash bail. This is your bail reform. And then the brother in the previous clip trying to blame the police. Oh, you only have 84 cops. Well, guess what? If y'all go into Mardi Gras, all 84 of them cops are going to be there trying to secure that area. Okay? So, I don't know what the rest of the city is going to do on that night, but I'll keep up with it and see what goes down. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
$250. And then 7 months later, he was arrested again, this time for aggravated battery, negligent injury, simple damage to property, and domestic child endangerment. Both of those cases now being screened by the DA's office. But it was that $250 initial bond that's pretty much got everybody riled up.
I mean, why are we surprised? Why are we riled up? Everybody, I guarantee there's somebody on his side saying free him, free bruh. I can almost guarantee. His homies are saying free him on Facebook. I guarantee it, bruh. Free the bruh, free money, he ain't do nothing. It's happening. It's happening, and although this whole block and this family were affected, there are people who still have the sentiment, yo, free bruh. Oh, and don't let him be a rapper. If he was a rapper, they would definitely be saying free him. Definitely. T-shirts and all. At the fish fry, where they're mourning the loss of the grandfather. That's how wicked it gets.
It's beyond appalling. It's actually one of the most egregious bond settings that I've ever seen, because it doesn't matter, how strong our laws are in Louisiana if the criminal justice system isn't going to treat domestic violence seriously.
Nice. Well spoken. I like the points. Solid, short, and to the point.
District Attorney's Office said is continuing to gather evidence for prosecution and hopefully, they say, ultimate conviction in this case. At the same time, the man accused in this case, Edmond Ramee Sr., is saying he is remorseful about the tragic series of events.
Well, I mean, at least he says he's sorry. And since we're forgiving people, like they keep trying to say, we're forgiving people. He said he was sorry. Is it mental health? What is it? What is it?
Guys, back to you.
All right, Heath, thank you very much. Happening now, New Orleans police also investigating.
Good evening, I'm Shelley Brown.
And I'm Lee Zerk. We start tonight with breaking news as police say a 1-year-old is safe and in good condition after the NOPD and state police say his father, 21-year-old Edmond Ramee Sr., abducted him after a fatal shooting in New Orleans East.
And family members say the man killed was Brian Murray. Amanda Roberts joins us now with more.
Well, state police said that just a half hour ago, the child, 1-year-old Edmond Ramee Jr., was located and in good condition. The NOPD told me tonight that Ramee Sr. turned himself in and brought the child with him, that both are safe. They are planning to book Ramee Sr. with second-degree murder. Tonight, neighbors and family, they're grieving the death of the child's grandfather, Brian Murray, saying he was protecting his grandchild before the abduction.
Wow, man. This dude went to go get his kid with a gun in hand. I mean, that's crazy in and of itself. What do you expect Grandpa to do, bruh? And if Grandpa would have shot him, what would we be saying?
My dad was always in good spirits, and I never expected my dad to die like this.
According to family and neighbors on Henley Street, what happened here was a tragedy.
Was trying to protect my niece.
Brian Murray's daughter, Brianna Murray, says there was an ongoing feud between the father of her niece's child, 21-year-old Edmond Ramee Sr., and the child's grandfather, Brian Murray.
We tried to get my dad to stay.
Man, look at this brother. Still looked young. Had a lot more life to live. I mean, two different worlds. Two different worlds.
Out of, and the type of person my dad is, he just gotta protect all his kids and grandkids.
What happened after that domestic dispute were two tragedies. Family says Brian Murray was shot and killed inside his own home. Police say it was Edmond Ramee Sr. who fired the shots and then took off with his 1-year-old son, Edmond Ramee Jr.
The 1-year-old is in the custody of what we now have been able to identify as a murderer. So yes, I absolutely believe that that 1-year-old is in danger. So we're trying to do our best to locate that child.
Neighbors remember Murray as a father and a role model to everyone. Daniel Gentry felt incensed at the violence on his street, saying his neighbor contacted police before about Ramee Sr.'s threatening behavior.
Because he broke the window and stuff over here. If the police are not doing anything to protect Mr. Murray,
Look at him. Keep saying the police. He got a $250 bond. What do you expect the cops to do? They did their jobs. They arrested him. Now, what do you expect the cops to do when he got a $250 bond? They're arresting him like, yeah, we saw him last week. And they're doing their job by apprehending him now before that child was killed. I mean, it's like these dudes have no mind. They're just like, you're not even connecting the dots here, bro. And I'm not trying to bag on this dude, but he got a $250, bruh. Even at my brokest, when I was, grabbing stuff from Walmart, like, I had $250 to make bail. Come on.
protect Mr. Murray, I have to be upset too because I'm 3 houses down. They're not doing anything to protect me either.
Coping with such tragedy and heartbreak, family and neighbors grieve a patriarch and protector.
He's a man. So in other words, you had to kill him to take his grandchild from him. You had to kill him to take his grandchild.
I'm getting ready to be married in November. My dad not gonna be. I'm sorry. My dad not gonna be here to give me away.
Now again, the NOPD says that they plan to book Ramee with second-degree murder, but both are safe tonight. Shelley?
Well, the man accused of killing a New Orleans musician and kidnapping a 1-year-old boy will have his court hearing later today. After evading the police for more than a year, Edmond Ramee Sr. is facing the consequences. Peyton Triss live in the studios with more. Peyton.
Yeah, Tamika, there's a lot of background to this case, so much so that Judge Juana M. Lombard decided to give the attorneys more time, moving that hearing to this morning, which will begin at 10 a.m. Here's what happened that got Edmond Ramee Sr. arrested this time. Police say that last Monday evening, Edmond Ramee Sr. shot and killed Brian Murray, supposedly the child's grandfather. Murray was babysitting the boy when Ramee forced his way in. Several hours later, he turned himself in. Now, the boy, who is Ramee's son, was luckily not harmed. The Orleans Parish District.
Luckily. And they say he shot the grandfather with the boy in his hands. What sense does that make?
District Attorney, his office says that it has been working on a domestic violence case against Edmond Ramee for more than a year, but they say that they've had trouble gathering evidence because the victim in the case has not been cooperating. Ramee is currently being held without bond, and the hearing will be virtual today in front of the magistrate, and we'll have more today during our 11 a.m. show. In the studio, I'm Peyton Triss.
Commercial murder and kidnapping case goes to court in New Orleans.
Edmond Ramee Sr. is accused of killing his father-in-law and kidnapping his child just days ago. Now bond must be set. But as WDSU reporter Heath Allen shows us, it's not his first time behind bars, and that's what has a lot of people pointing fingers this morning. Heath, good morning.
And a good morning to you. You're absolutely right. Not his first time behind bars, and bond is going to play a key role in whatever court proceedings unfold. as today progresses. Ramee, of course, turned himself over to New Orleans police after a series of tragic events over the weekend, the murder of his father-in-law and then the kidnapping of his own son. It was a series of events that left the New Orleans East neighborhood in shock. Ramee, though, had previous run-ins with the law. He had been arrested on domestic violence charges before. Back in Christmas 2020, charged with battery of a police officer, resisting a police officer, and domestic abuse battery. What has many up in arms right now is that at that point, back then, his bond was only set at $250. And then 7 months later, he was arrested again, this time for aggravated battery, negligent injury, simple damage to property, and domestic child endangerment. Both of those cases now being screened by the DA's office. But it was that $250 initial bond that's pretty much got everybody riled up.
It's beyond appalling. It's actually one of the most egregious bond settings that I've ever seen, because it doesn't matter, how strong our laws are in Louisiana if the criminal justice system isn't going to treat domestic violence seriously.
District Attorney's Office said is continuing to gather evidence for prosecution and hopefully, they say, ultimate conviction in this case. At the same time, the man accused in this case, Edmond Ramee Sr., is saying he is remorseful about the tragic series of events. Guys, back to you.
All right, Heath, thank you very much.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.